Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Blissful Purpose Tribe. My name is Bridget, and today I'm here with Heba, and we're going to talk all about care to share. As always, before we get started, we're going to do a little bit of breathing because Heba and I both need to relax a little and
For sure.
breathe. So if you're watching live with us, you can just bring the hands onto the knees, and we're going to close the eyes. Start by taking a deep breath in through the nose and a deep breath out through the nose. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. From here, bring one hand onto your heart and one hand onto your belly. As you inhale, the belly will expand first, then the rib cage, then the chest. And as you exhale, the chest will soften, rib cage, then belly. Inhale, belly expands first. And exhale, chest, rib cage, belly. See if you can continue with this cycle of breath. This is called diaphragmatic breathing. And it really helps us deepen the breath. And just focus on the inhale and the exhale. Notice how you feel as you breathe. Notice that you are alive with each breath. And that you are here in this present moment. Let's take one more deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Bring the hands back down onto the knees. Soften the shoulders. And just notice and observe how you're feeling here in this moment. Keeping the attention inwards. Noticing the body. Notice the breath. Notice any thoughts in the mind. And then you can slowly wiggle your fingers, move your head from side to side. And you can open your eyes. Yay! Beautiful. Here we are. Feels so much better already, right?
I know, that's what I needed. Just all of a sudden, timeout.
Yeah, and you drop into the space.
Timeout,
Okay.
but time in at the same time. Or tune in.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Tune
That
in.
was yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a timeout to tune in. So really
Oh, I
good.
love that.
I
I love
I
that. That's
I
perfect.
just already feel like okay. Already, I'm gonna begin with the care to share. When you said whatever, like to just take in like your thoughts, how you're feeling. And I really like the words that came to mind were like grateful, like refreshingly at ease. And it all came from that time out to tune in. So that was
That's beautiful. Of course, these words are coming from you. This is my beautiful friend Heba, everyone. We went to college together and we shared many amazing, challenging times together in college and really great times.
yeah.
So I'm so excited to share her with you all, and she's going to talk about care to share with us
Yeah.
today. So I wanted to start off by asking you, what does care to share mean?
Care to share. Okay. I feel like care to share is this link to me, and it's almost like a call to action. And we think of sharing like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the things that I feel deep within me came from like really elementary times. Like it was just like very simple times, right? And as you grow older, you start to experience more and understand that there's more complexity to everything that you were just like at this young age, wide-eyed, just like taking and processing in such a free way. But the more we grow to understand and learn that we don't know, but like find comfort and curiosity in that, I feel like as I got older, I was like, what do I want to do? What do I want to do in life, right? Everyone's like, what is life? What do I want to do? And I said, okay, and got into these deep thoughts, super philosophical in my mind. Okay. And then I realized what I wanted was actually something not like anything specific, but it really came back to this simplicity of I want to experience this life because to your point, and I love this breath work because again in that moment it's like I'm alive, I am here. There's this feeling of like almost like a thought back to the present, even though that sounds like a little paradoxical. It's like the present is here and now, so how could you not be in it? But it's like once you take that time out and say, wait, I am here and I am conscious of this, and let me just take a deep moment in and say, and reflect on just my appreciation of being here in this moment, comes, yeah, this love of life, this enthusiasm for life, for all that it comes with, right? We're emotional beings. We feel, right? We feel. What do we feel? We feel these like vibrations. We feel these little tingly feelings. Sometimes we get butterflies in our stomachs. But at the end of the day, it's just all an experience, right? Like, again, we could get into this deep talk. What is life? Classic, right? Classic. Yep. What is life? Let's ponder. What's life? But let's bring it back. It's an experience. It's an experience that we're going through. And we're all having these unique perspectives. So we live unique lives, but at the same time, we're all here together in the here and now. So we're sharing this moment. So without us even giving anything, we're all here and we're all sharing, and brings this unity in this experience, individual and whole. Yeah. And this is all just coming from experience. That's just my gratitude to be able to experience.
That's so beautiful. And I like what you're saying about like simplicity. Like at our core, it's much more simple. Why do you think we create, or not even just create, why do you think sometimes we view the world in such an overwhelming way when really we're just, these beings having experiences, having feelings? Like that's the simple thing. Why do you think we get so bogged down and overwhelmed with more that life is?
The first thing that came to mind, oddly enough, I'll tie this in, I promise. The first thing that came to mind is SpongeBob. But the reason why I say SpongeBob is not for anything, but I thought porous. And what is that? Like permeability.
Yeah.
I just feel like we are these beings that not only are we impacting, but we're being impacted. So not only are we being influenced, we're influencing. Like, so there's this like in and out, give and take that happens. And I feel like that's it. We're just processing. There's a lot to take in for sure. But that's why I'm going to keep bringing it back to this whole breath work or the simplicity is time out, tune in. You're here. This is a moment. The next moment is another moment and another and another. And that's really all it is. So if you're just like in this moment and taking action on whatever it is you care about, because you don't know if you have another moment coming up, there's a hopefulness for the next moment. And that's where like positivity comes into play. Like, are you being optimistic for the future? Because if you're making it to the future, that's exciting. But it all starts with a gratefulness for the now. So I to answer your question, there's a lot going on. And again, being emotional beings, there's that quote where it's like life is like 20% what happens to you, 80% how you react to it. Right?
I love that. Oh,
part of the 80-20 rule is still being applied here in the concept that like yes, we're experiencing, but so is like every other thing. So we can't just be full of the self. We acknowledge the
Mhm.
self and say that again, we're part of this greater experience. But at the end of the day, other things and beings and ideas and abstract, non-abstract, like things are around us. So we're processing. We have
Yeah.
different senses. Like we have our sight, vision, right? We have our ears. We could hear, like to listen to sound. We have
Mhm.
touch. There's texture in this world, right? Like everything. Our taste, sense of taste. I don't know what other senses I'm missing here, but you know
I
what I
think
mean?
that's
Like
all.
we're sensual in that
Yeah,
sense. I'm gonna keep saying the word sense because it just makes sense.
it does.
So
It
that's
does.
it. So we're just it can be overwhelming because there's a lot to take in,
Right.
but I think that's the most exhilarating thing to think about is that we are feeling, and it's up
Yep.
to us like what we make of those feelings, how we
Mm.
react. Yeah, we have self-control, we have self-will, so
Mm.
stuff.
I love
But bring
that.
it.
Have you are you familiar with Eckhart Tolle and I think it's Tolle.
Mhm.
Tolle is his name, and he writes or has written a book called The Power of Now. Are you familiar with it?
No, but enlighten me as usual. Go ahead.
It's this is exactly what you're talking about. He says the only thing we ever have control of is the present moment. Because if you are thinking of the future, you're detached from the present. If
Mhm.
you are dwelling on the past,
Mm.
you are detached from the present. And so all you can do is respond in this space right here.
Mm.
Of course, we have other things going on, but can you do anything about it right now? If you can, act. If
Mhm.
not, let it like disconnect from it because it's not serving you now.
Mm. Mm. I I'm with you, and I think there's discipline to that. There's a
Mm-hmm.
discipline. There's a practice. Like it that's we could say it, and we're talking again, there's so many paradoxes to life. I could say one
Mm-hmm.
thing and say I also believe in the complete opposite, but hi, that's life, right?
Yeah,
So
really.
so as much as things are simple, goodness, I lost my train of thought here. But there's a practice to it, right? So how do we train ourselves and say here and act now? But I think again, just knowing myself at least, that's why I love improv, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love improv because at the root of improv, and I'll give a quick backstory, like I got into like improvising. I don't necessarily mean like comedy improv, get up on a stage and do stand up, but
That's what
like
I thought you meant.
just just improvisation. And to be improvisational is like to be this spontaneous in the
Mm-hmm.
moment, right? So, and where that came from for me was through music, right? I like playing saxophone for a really long time, got me into like the band geek, marching band, but got me into jazz band. I think like most importantly, because jazz band introduced like, they scat. There's this funk, but to it, that's when I started practicing improvisational music. But
Mm-hmm.
the thought of what it means to improv is to like understand chord progression, right? I won't get too technical because I don't know how to
Yeah.
get technical in music, but there's like a chord progression. You can't just play any note and it be like in harmony with what's going on around you. So
Mm-hmm.
thinking about like how we're processing, right? How are we experiencing and absorbing? I think improv helped me understand that. Like it rewired my brain
Mm-hmm.
through music because I was like, whoa, I have to know the sound of this song, and I have to know what notes play to it. But beyond that, it's all up to me what order and in what like timing I play. So for me, improv was this freestyle that it was unique to how I'm feeling and it's in the moment and I'm just how I'm feeling, but there's this consciousness of what else, because it's not just me. I still had to be harmonious or complement what's around me. But to bring it back, it's this practice of how do you focus on the here, and not be so detached.
That's a really, I've never thought of that before. So thank you for bringing that into like my sphere of understanding.
Yeah.
And I think that actually bridges with your 80-20 rule because
Hmm.
you have the 20%, which is like the other notes around you, maybe from other people, but then you have the 80% of how you are actually like responding to the thing, right? And that's what we have control over. And it makes me think that I remember in college too, you were able to do like rapping, like just on the spot. And that's another discipline of like being in the moment, because you can't be thinking of like Nancy down the street or like something you did yesterday.
I mean, I love Nancy. Don't get me wrong. I love Nancy.
Right. But that's so interesting to be able to do. So I guess, and what are your thoughts on this? Like, does everyone have a different discipline, or how they become disciplined? Because like yours is through understanding music to be able to improvise in the moment. You know, what could it look like for other people?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, it's like, what are you passionate about? What do you personally care about? You'll dedicate to it. You'll put time to it. And like maybe unknowingly, like you're doing it, and like that's your form of release. I always mention like everyone has their own art, and I don't mean just the performing arts, right? It's whatever you love. It's whatever you find like your heart, your soul, your mind, however way, whatever your pull, whatever that feeling is you feel to things that get you going. Like that's your art. And the beauty of your art is you almost don't like have to think about being disciplined. Like that's, you'll know when you're passionate about something. People can see your passion because it's you just do it. It feels right. You want to take care of it. You want to like nourish it, whether you think so or not. Like that's what you do. And I think what I love is like when I just mentioned, oh, people can see it. I know growing up, like, did I think like rapping? You mentioned rapping, like, ooh, I want to be a rapper. No, I just did it because of music, and people are like, ooh, you're good at rapping, and I'm like, oh yeah, cool. So sometimes people are like, oh, I don't know my thing. Like, again, it takes tuning into your environment. People are probably like highlighting it to you anyway, because you put it out there. But do what you care. That way, again, the discipline comes easy. You're gonna want to discipline yourself. Do something that's gonna make you want to discipline.
Yep. I love that. Something I've like run into, like not only like kind of facilitating this group, but also in the people that I work with, is some people don't know what they like. And so for me, it's trying to help those people, you know, figure out, well, what do you like? You know, what is it? Because to you and me, it might come really easily. Like we just found the things for it. But what would you say for someone who like just doesn't know what they even like to do?
Yeah, it's tough. I really, again, it's surrounding yourself with other people, like positive people, first off. And I don't mean like hype people all the time. The people are just like, oh my God, you're amazing. Like, I just mean like people who see you for who you are, and will highlight the best in you. And it's listening to other people sometimes, because maybe you don't recognize it yourself. I think it's something like my mom would always tell me, like the most beautiful people in the world like won't ever realize just how beautiful they are. Or the idea that like people are like butterflies. They make the comparison like because they'll never see the beauty of their wings. And that doesn't mean you're not like that you're not fully spread, or maybe you're still growing, maybe you're still in the caterpillar stage, but like everyone has it, whether you see it or other people don't. And that's where you really just have to know, if you're not too sure, you're giving something off. You're giving something off. It's just a matter of like, how do you allow yourself to see it? Again, that's the trick. But I really think like that's where, as much as you can, like what and who are you surrounding yourself with? How do you spend your time, and what do you take into yourself, right? Like the mental diet. What do you consume? Not just like the food you eat, but everything else that you're taking in, to help trigger like, okay, is there a theme in any of this? If I'm watching a show, is there anything in particular? If when I want to go hang out, is there a type of environment? Like, is it outside, indoors? Like, it's just finding the theme and like what you spend your time when you're awake. What do you spend your time doing? But
I love mental diet. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
really, really great. I think that's really important. And I guess for people to just start to look at what they are enjoying about what's in their life. You know,
Hmm.
what are you liking? Because maybe you're not hanging out with people who are supporting you, and maybe you're in environments that are also not supporting you. So having the awareness
Hmm.
that, hey, I don't know if this is supporting me and serving me.
Hmm.
So I bet that awareness and taking a step back will also help so that you can see that thread through your life.
Yep. Yep.
So true. So with
So,
the care to share idea,
mhm.
you talked about community.
Oh,
And you know that we're all here on this earth together.
yep.
So how can we share more? What does that
Yeah.
mean to you?
So care to share. I really think so. I'll even backtrack to what I was saying earlier with experience, right? So there's two pieces that actually where care to share is what allows it to come together, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned experience before, for beings just living an experience, taking things in and processing. And like, why is it important to share? So part of what you mentioned, like, how do people know what they're interested in, is just like express yourself. And even if it's in the basics of like, what's the first form of like communication, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it verbal? Is it written? Is it like physical? Is it through something else? So like, if you don't think it's within the basics of, right, when we think communication, we think like verbal, nonverbal, so like my hands moving or like my body language, and written, right? We think that's language. But there's so much more. There's universal languages. And again, that's
Yes.
where I bring in art. You could show
Mm-hmm.
me something that you built. Like an engineer can show me like a robot that they made. And like
Mm-hmm.
I'm understanding them.
Mm-hmm.
They could not say a single word to me, but I understood them. I understood them. So I really like I challenge people to think like, what is the universal language that you tap into? Whether it's again verbal, nonverbal, written, or through something else. And
Mm-hmm.
whatever that something else, like if I had to tell you, say something to me, not necessarily speak, but say something to me or care to share, pause. Just pause until you're about to share. And however form you're about to share is what you should put more practice into and put more time into, because that is your form of expression. That is your art. You are living through, you are putting yourself in this channel. You are channeling yourself through something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm really trying to break open this box of like, ooh, what is my art? What is my passion? It doesn't have to be this Picasso, like super
Right.
again, like these
We're so
arts.
tangible.
It doesn't have to be dance. It doesn't, I don't mean music. I mean like if you're really good at like folding things, like folding laundry is therapeutic for you, and someone should
Mm-hmm.
come check out your closet because it's just like super folded, like you're
Mm-hmm.
expressing yourself through that fold, through this again, you're channeling your energies and putting it into something, and there is a result. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? There's this product, but again, it doesn't have to be physical. So that's where when you care to share through universal language, the beauty about language, it's insane how language works in the human mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many people like know a language, generally speaking, will say they know a language, but if you had to ask them, do you understand it more than you speak it? People will always say they understand a language more than they speak it. I could
Yeah.
understand here bits and pieces of Spanish more so than I could ever regurgitate back and speak technically.
Totally.
There's something about it. I don't know the scientific thing. Someone else chime in here, but it's like you can understand before you could even speak out. So wait a
Yeah.
minute. If that's how language works, you could understand it just by someone speaking it to you, yet you don't have to necessarily know how to speak back. Therefore, like, and we're saying universal language is just something that, again, and if you care to share this language, right,
Mm-hmm.
there is no limit to this or definition to what that language could be or what that channel could look like. You care to share that. Now there's this expanded level of understanding, right? Here's one person and they're caring to share in their language, whatever this X is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they send it out, Understanding. Do they have to speak back to you in your language? No, but they understood
Mm.
you. So it's like expression, and that's where care to share comes from, is this idea that when we experience and we express, right, both X words, experience and expression, what connects these two? What is that intersection? It is when we care to share. But if we're not caring to share, look, here's experience. I'm one single human being just experiencing all by myself, right? We could get lonely. We could feel like maybe people don't understand us.
Yes.
And here's my expression. I'm expressing, but I don't know what my expression is. Well, hey, don't worry about it. Just release. You're taking in, release. As long as it's healthy, that's where the practice comes in. That's where discipline comes in, and connect the two. How? When you care to share.
I love this. The movement.
No, that's the idea. It's X. So that's it's actually from a thought that I want to start, like, I guess, an organization called X to the power of you. And the tagline is care to share. X to the power of you. You're in power. Believe it. Be confident in it. Be grateful for it. Right? And that's where, bring it back to the present. I'm here. I'm grounded. I'm worthy. I'm amazing. You're beautiful. You're amazing. You know what I mean? This is stellar.
Right.
Wow. So X to the power of you. And it's so important that we care to share. If not, we're not doing anyone a favor. We're going like this. But bring it together. Look at the power in that. Look at the power in that.
Heva, that's like the most beautiful thing ever, and that needs to be out into the world. Because we have like consumption and creation. You consume, it's like all your experiences, but you need to create also. Because if you're just consuming, everything is overwhelming. You need to create and send out. So it's kind of the same concept, but I like your play on the X to the power of you.
I love it. It's a build and release. I always say, like, there's a lot of builds and release, like, as again, like these biological builds and release. You think about a sneeze. Build up a sneeze. Don't you just hate it when you don't release, right? There's other things, like, think about when we cry, right? There's things that trigger that. And all of a sudden you're like, you're overwhelmed with emotion, or you're feeling it. And what happens? What happens, like, when you feel bottled, right? But then there's this release, and it's like, right? So same thing. That's why it could be frustrating. I understand. It's not easy for someone who doesn't know maybe what their art is off the top of their head, or what their expression is. It's okay. We're building. It's a lot. But I'm going to keep tossing back. Again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. That's where your breath comes into play.
Yeah.
You're feeling like, whoa, I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling sad, I don't know what's going on. Like, am I a little bit of both? Is it possible? Oh yeah, definitely. And one end of the spectrum. And then you're like,
yeah.
And just get in that and say, time out, tune in, I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, let me release. Don't overdo it. However way you release, just make sure it's healthy. I always tell people, like, one of my life mottos is, like, safety first and always. Like, as long as you're not physically, mentally, emotionally hurting yourself or others, there's no intent to, right? We could get into intent, but I'm a big believer on, like, if you have good intent, but as long as you're not aiming to cause harm, to each their own. So don't stress it. Again, find comfort in the fact that this is just an experience. Things are happening. You're feeling. That's okay, bud. Like, like, we all feel.
We all feel.
How are you feeling, Bridget? Good.
I'm feeling great. I think what you're saying is so profound, and this made me think of, if someone doesn't know how they could share, start to think of how their experience, like, what do you experience that resonates with you, and then share maybe through the same thing. And, like, a language that speaks to me is the language of love. Like, love isn't, you can't grab love, you feel love. So, like, I can look at you and I can literally, like, send you love. Absolutely. And, like, I feel it in my heart. Like, I literally send you love, and, like, you'll feel it in your shoulders. It's going to tingle down your arms. Into your whole body. And I'm sending you it. Yeah. And, like, you can't grab it, but you feel it. And so maybe if someone they love experiencing joy. Send more of that out. Like start to see the channels through which you're experiencing that resonate with you. And then that can be the way that you express also. If you're having trouble like figuring, whatever it is for you. And like the whole thing with language, what you said was fascinating. And this makes me think of like my two things are I love breath work and I love mantras because they changed my life and I need to change other people. I need to send it to the world. But with mantras, they're essentially sound codes. And they always say that you don't need to know the direct definition. Like that's not the most important. How do you feel? There's an internal vibration from either mentally saying it, chanting, just speaking, whisper. And that's the same thing with like languages. Even if you can't speak it out, you there's something happening. So that's like, oh my God, this is just profound.
Yeah, this is good. This is amazing. Language, vibration, that's another thing. Like, and again, maybe I'll keep going why I love music so much. Because it's a sound thing. It's a sound. You could hear something literally there could be a song playing in French. I could be like, this is my favorite song ever. You know what I mean? But it's just because like I'm feeling it. Like there's certain tones, there's actual chords where it's like, it could be minor and it like maybe makes you feel more mellow. It could be major and you feel brighter. It's upbeat, right? There's an actual vibration that we feel. So again, for those still searching and whether they're tuning in, I also would recommend just like listen. So to your point, like what makes sense to them, even if they are in silence. I go silent as much as I'm such a chatterbox, as much as I love silence. There's a sound to this silence. And I think for people, again, gives them that space, that solitude to tune in. But again, just tune out. If you're looking, see what you do, what is appealing to you, what do you understand? So reverse it. You know what I mean? See what language you best understand, because if you best understand it, you probably do. That is the one that you might be able to speak back to or speak through the most. So listen is for the people.
I love
still searching.
What is your kind of final word of wisdom for anyone who is wanting to maybe care to share more in their life or any of the things that we've discussed today? What is your wisdom? Because you have so much, Heba. I know.
I don't want to go too lengthy with it, but this was another. I like acronyms because hopefully they're like short, memorable, and you could take something out of it. But I know a big thing in what you talk about is everyone has like unique abilities, like gifts that they can offer and contribute to in the world and just put out there. Again, care to share, because there's goodness to come out of it. So I don't know if you remember, I had done a superhero new talk, right? Everyone's got their own unique superpowers. But how do you come to that finding? How do you unlock your superpowers, right? You always think about these like shows where the characters are trying to go on this journey and tap in to their powers and unlock them, channel them, and release them out. But it's the idea of c.a.p.e, 4 letters, not 3. So, right, c.a.p.e, and it's just a summary pretty much, I feel like, of what we just spoke to. But the c.a.p.e stands for create, absorb, practice, and empower, right? So look at all 4 pieces. How do you find yourself creating? If you were to put your energy and focus into something, again, what comes out of it? What is that end product? Is it a song? Is it a video? Is it a formula? Is it a cookie? Are you whatever it may be? How are you creating? How are you releasing? Next up, absorb. Again, we're processing, we're taking in. We think about plants and the idea of like photosynthesis. They literally, the way they feed is off of energy. They collect energy, they store energy, they convert it into what they need to sustain themselves, and they release back out. So at the end of the day, are we a bunch of plants? Maybe. You know what I mean? So absorb. How are we collecting energy? What type of energy are we surrounding ourselves with? And how do we convert it and release back out? Practice, discipline, discipline, discipline. Practice makes perfect. How are you spending your time? Are you giving yourself that freedom of trial and error? If you do something one way, that's not the only way. Keep going. Do something else. Try it out. It's okay, right? No risk, no reward. So practice. And then lastly, empower. Anybody who cares to share can visibly see in some way, shape, or form. People say it a lot. Even if I share something and it impacts one person, then that's all I need to know, that I did my part, right? It makes it all the worthwhile. So to tie care to share and to the end of the CAPE, right? Create, absorb, practice, empower. Care to share. It's empowering. You gain power by empowering. Do we see how power is transferred? How things become malicious and things get twisted is when people are like, power, focus on the self. You need to focus on the self, but when you put out, you receive back in. It works this way. Again, back to SpongeBob and being porous as he. Empowering. It's so empowering. Care to share yourself. You're going to inspire others to find their language, to better understand their language, to learn another language. But that all of that happens and is only able to happen when we care to share.
Yeah. That is beautiful.
Not as beautiful as yours.
So
how about
beautiful.
you? What's yours? I don't know.
What is mine? Oh my gosh, I didn't think about this.
Turning the table.
Oh, turning the tables. My words of wisdom is that you can do anything that you want in this world. The only thing that ever stops you is yourself. And you are here for greatness. You were born for greatness. You were born with gifts, abilities, talents, and sometimes we forget about them. But you can choose how you want to respond and how you want to live your life. Because you are here for a reason and you're here for greatness. All of us. That's my wisdom.
You're so great. This is so great. I was tired when we started this, just in case anyone knows. I'll put it out there. I'm almost at the 24-hour mark and I feel so energized. This was like rejuvenating, Bridge. I promise you. I promise you. And it all started with a breath, a deep breath.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You're so welcome. How can people enter your world or find you or reach out if they are curious about kind of what you do?
Was this the pitch for the shameless plug? I'll do it. Okay.
Yeah, plug.
I swear I don't have like multiple personalities, but I'll zip line through them real quick. My name is Heba. My DJ name for music is Hebsy Websy. For philosophical conversations, call me out for Hebistotle, kind of like Aristotle. For magical needs, it's the Great Hebini, kind of like Houdini, but greater. But if you want to follow me, catch me on Instagram. My handle is at Heba4Hassan. I'll spell it out. HEBA, the number 4, HASSAN. I'll follow back, you beautiful people. Bridget, amazing.
That was amazing, first of all. And Heba is so good with like words. Like that's one of your superpowers. The ability to come like Hebistotle. Like those are great. The Great Habini. What was it?
Yeah, the Great Habini. I don't know. That's why I said I really don't.
That's amazing. So amazing. Well, I just want to thank you so much from my heart to yours for being here today with us. And I'm just so grateful for you and all the work and all the inspiring things that you do in this world, because you change people's lives every single day. Anyone you come into contact with, you change their life. Like 100%.
And look who's talking. Again, it's that butterfly Bridge. I can't tell you enough, like how beautiful you are, how impactful you are, and how nourishing you are. Like you're nourishing. You're helping others to grow, and I'm just so happy again seeing you and doing what you do. Just this precious spirit, and again, it's just so empowering. And keep doing it. This is what's making the world go round, and I hope people can see that this power of sharing.
It is. Thank you so much. Care to share with Heba. Love it so much. If you watch this live with us, please comment, say hi to us. And if you're watching this on the replay, also say hi. I'll tag all of Heba's stuff in this as well so that you can see everything that she's up to. Have a beautiful Sunday, everyone. Take care.
Incredible day. Peace.
Let's see.